Well, soccer had a big road trip into Big Ten country, had a 1-1 tie with Michigan, and fell 4-2 on a terrible weather day in East Lansing as they lose to the Spartans. Back in the Stampede, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we took a look at a great documentary on Karl Dorrell put together by John Snelson. Today, let's take a look at part number 2 of 3. Powered by Ford, cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America, built Ford proud.
I had been at UCLA a few years, and I got to be great friends with Karl early in his time there.
Intercepted earlier, throwing it left side, man open, first down.
Karl was stoic, ultra competitive, but very little said. It was more about actions than words.
Karl Dorrell, just a sophomore.
I remember the Rose Bowl. We got into that game, and Karl put on a show.
Some action. Well, there's one of them will be back. Karl Dorrell. That's going to be tough next year.
I remember vividly a third down early in the game, and Karl came out of the huddle, and the call was for him to run a post. We're down in the red zone, and he looked at me and he said, "Post, corner post." And normally I would have said, wait. But I had such trust in Karl that I just nodded, got it.
Donahue looking for more, and he's got
That ball came out of my hand, hit him perfectly, he caught it perfectly, and the touchdown celebration was on. And that gave us, I think, a 21-3 lead at the time, and the rest, as they say, is history.
good protection. Open again, that's a touchdown. Dorrell, his second of the game. And fourth by Donahue.
Terry Donahue deserves a great deal of credit for the success that his team is enjoying here in the Rose Bowl this afternoon.
You know, a lot of those, people that were in my path were instrumental, with me so what I am doing today, particularly Coach Donahue.
There goes Donahue onto the shoulders.
Coach Terry Donahue was, he just recently passed away. He was so significant for me and my success, with, how he helped bring me up in his program as a player. He had a father figure type of relationship with all of us, but a very encouraging way. He actually opened my eyes and gave me some confidence and some insight about going into the coaching profession. I went back to UCLA after my short stint with the Cowboys. I was working part-time in the athletic department in the business administration area. Coach Donahue needed someone to kind of coach the receivers for a couple of weeks. So he asked if he could borrow me in the afternoons. And I just remember after that spring, he says, "Karl, I think you can be a really successful coach. I think you can really grow in this profession." It really shed light to me about, wow, this might be something that, I might be good at. After that year at UCLA as a graduate assistant, I went to Central Florida. I went back towards the West Coast and went to Flagstaff, Arizona to be the offensive coordinator at NAU. And then I got note of an opportunity to get a chance to interview at University of Colorado as a receiver coach under Bill McCartney. And I had a chance to work with some really dynamic players here at the University of Colorado my first couple of years. Guys like Michael Westbrook and Charles Johnson. I left there in 1994 to be the passing game coordinator and receiver coach at Arizona State under Bruce Snyder. I did recommend to Coach McCartney at a time that if they're looking for a receiver coach, I know of a guy that I played with. He was my quarterback at UCLA, and his name was Rick Neuheisel.
I got to interview at Colorado, which would later, 1 year later, result in me being the head coach. And when I became the head coach and was putting my staff together, I went after the game immediately to Karl's house, and I said, "Come on, we're going." Karl became the offense coordinator on my first staff, and as we said, we were going to drive the car and drive it fast. And we did. We won 20 games right out of the blocks.
The boy, touchdown Colorado. He's in, touchdown.
So when he moved to Washington, I had to go with him because I didn't have, the chance to stay and be an offensive coordinator here.
And I remember while at Washington, Karl and I were talking that Mike Shanahan had reached out to him. And while I hated to lose Karl Dorrell, I also knew that him getting into the NFL, especially with a guy like Mike, was going to be a tremendous opportunity for him.
A great piece by John Snelson there on head coach Karl Dorrell, the Colorado Buffaloes. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at the third part of that documentary.